Many experts fear that US President-elect Donald Trump may throw Ukraine under the bus in his bid to end the war at any cost. However, at least one expert believes that Trump will instead give Ukraine nuclear weapons to protect it from any future Russian encroachment, writes the Daily Express. In the next 4 years, Russia will rearm, but also Ukraine will recover, rearm and prepare. That preparation could include the United States providing nuclear weapons to Ukraine, says Nicholas Drummond, a British security and defence expert and a non-staff consultant to the British Parliament's Defence Committee. In his opinion, the agreement on the transfer of nuclear weapons to Ukraine could be concluded secretly and later, if necessary, Kiev could issue a warning. We have nuclear weapons, and if you attack us, we will bomb Moscow. Can you imagine what this would mean for Putin? It could be Trump's trump card. On the one hand, it could be reckless to give Ukraine nuclear weapons. On the other hand, it would restore the balance of peace and power in the region. The US could say that they will give Ukraine nuclear weapons, but say that you cannot join NATO. Drummond believes. It is still not clear what Trump plans to do in Ukraine. The Wall Street Journal reported this month that he will look to establish a demilitarized zone between Ukraine and Russia. Citing a source close to Trump, the news outlet added that the US could seek to freeze Ukraine's NATO bid for 20 years. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenski said on Sunday that the war will end quicker with Trump in the White House. He said the war will end faster with the policy of this team that will now lead the White House. He continued, "We must do everything to ensure that the war ends next year through diplomatic means." Vladimir Putin is open to discussing a Ukraine ceasefire deal with Donald Trump, but rules out making any major territorial concessions and insists Kyiv abandon ambitions to join NATO, 5 sources with knowledge of Kremlin thinking told Reuters. US President-elect Trump, who has vowed to swiftly end the conflict, is returning to the White House at a time of Russian ascendancy. Moscow controls a chunk of Ukraine about the size of the American state of Virginia and is advancing at the fastest pace since the early days of the 2022 invasion. In the first detailed reporting of what President Putin would accept in any deal brokered by Trump, the 5 current and former Russian officials said the Kremlin could broadly agree to freeze the conflict along the front lines. There may be room for negotiation over the precise carve-up of the 4 eastern regions of Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia and Kherson, according to 3 of the people who all requested anonymity to discuss sensitive matters. While Moscow claims the 4 regions as wholly part of Russia, defended by the country's nuclear umbrella, its forces on the ground control 70 to 80% of the territory, with about 26,000 square kilometers still held by Ukrainian troops. Open source data on the front line shows. Russia may also be open to withdrawing from the relatively small patches of territory it holds in the Kharkiv, Mykolaiv regions in the north and south of Ukraine, 2 of the officials said.
Southeast Asian defense chiefs met Thursday with China, the United States and other partner nations in Laos for security talks, which come as Beijing's increasingly assertive stance in its claim to most of the South China Sea is leading to more confrontations. The closed-door talks put U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and Chinese Defense Minister Dong Jun in the same room a day after Dong refused a request to meet with Austin one-on-one on the sidelines of the ASEAN defense ministers' meetings. The U.S. and China have been working to improve freight military-to-military communications, and Austin said he regretted Dong's decision, calling it a setback for the whole region. The ASEAN meetings come as member nations are looking warily toward the change in American administrations at a time of increasing maritime disputes with China. The U.S. has firmly pushed a free and open Indo-Pacific policy under outgoing President Joe Biden, and it is not yet clear how the incoming administration of President-elect Donald Trump will address the South China Sea situation. In addition to the United States and China, other nations attending the ASEAN meeting from outside Southeast Asia include Japan, South Korea, India, Russia, Australia and New Zealand. The meetings with the ASEAN dialogue partners were also expected to address tensions in the Korean Peninsula, the Russia-Ukraine war, and wars in the Middle East. Before heading to Laos, Austin concluded meetings in Australia with officials there and with Japan's defense minister. They pledged to support ASEAN and expressed their serious concern about destabilizing actions in the East and South China Seas, including dangerous conduct by the People's Republic of China against Philippines and other coastal state vessels. Along with the Philippines, ASEAN members Vietnam, Malaysia and Brunei have competing claims with China in the South China Sea, which Beijing claims almost entirely as its own territory.
Like my colleagues, I look forward to a productive meeting.
To deliver the opening remarks and to officially lead the meeting.
这是一次以东盟为中心，汇聚各方智慧，共同努力维护地区稳定和发展的一次重要的会议。我愿借此机会与各位同事们一道。 深入的探讨交流，共同携手推动着地区的合作与发展。
Australia places huge value on our partnership with ASEAN and supports the regional order with ASEAN as its centre. I congratulate Your Excellency on your leadership and your nation's leadership as in this year, and I commend its focus on climate change in the ministerial joint statement, an important issue that affects us all.
Some さまざまな情勢に直面しているこの地域の平和と安定のために、皆様と率直な意見交換、議論を交わせることを楽しみにいたしております。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。